Do you feel like your nervous system has been stuck in fight or flight? And if so, I say this video is for you. Now, I'm not going to give you the Instagram version of regulation, right? There's all these quick videos, to regulate yourself in 20 seconds. Yeah, right. Has any of that ever worked? Honestly, if it has, please share with the rest of us how it worked for you in the comments. I've never seen it work, but there's a plethora of videos that claim it does. And I want to say to you very clearly that most people who try to regulate their nervous system unfortunately only succeed in dysregulating it all the more. So, without further ado, here is Coach Power's list of 5 things you actually need to do to help regulate a dysregulated nervous system. These are things that I have seen work through thousands of hours of actual work with people in dysregulation, and I can tell you these things have been very effective. So, number 1, stop trying to fix it. All right, I know that sounds crazy to you, but wait, hold on. You have to fix it, right, coach? No. The constant monitoring is part of the dysregulation. The constant effort to change the situation, the urgency. These are triggers to the limbic system. So the more urgent you feel, the more control you exert, the more pressure you put on yourself, the more dysregulated you become. And some of you probably already know that. So some of these might be new to you, and some of you, I think, are going to go, yeah, that's accurate right there, right? So if you're constantly checking whether you're calm yet, if you're constantly trying to calm yourself down, you're just basically going to stay in evaluation mode. Your limbic brain is going to keep scanning and comparing and contrasting. And when this happens, glutamate skyrockets, norepinephrine, cortisol, all that stuff skyrockets. And as I've often taught you guys, when that happens, it has a symbiotic relationship with the feel-good neurotransmitters and hormones. So things like natural GABA tone goes down, serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, these things are also impacted when the excitatory system gets extremely elevated there. So your idea is not to, immediately fix dysregulation. So that needs to be said first. Stop trying to fix it. Number 2, separate dysregulation from danger, because they are not the same thing. My friends, just because it feels dangerous, just because it feels unsafe, doesn't mean it is unsafe. And that fusion, that combining of those two things is what keeps our limbic survival system in such high threat detection mode. And again, when it's in high threat detection mode, you're going to have elevated symptoms. That's how it works. You're going to further dysregulate, right? We can think of this as a kind of secondary fear that spirals the system, right? So it's not just the feeling of, oh, I had this symptom, I'm feeling dysregulated, I feel unsafe, is when you start to really believe that you are unsafe. Okay? So that's very important. I know it's convincing. I know it feels like the nervous system's on fire, but you're not in any serious danger. So please understand that. Separate dysregulation from danger. Number 3, and this is important, lower your internal pressure. Again, this is sort of circling around a common theme here. Lower internal pressure. There's a performance anxiety around healing in the benzo community. I've got to do these things. I've got to take these supplements. Maybe I should reinstate. Did I taper too fast? Should I try a new benzo? Should I try this? Should I try that? Let's throw 25 coaches in the mixes and all the videos and recovery content I can think of. And it just adds more and more pressure to show up perfect, to get it all right, and to, again, fix it. And it all breeds back into the same original problem. Now the fear brain, or as I call it, the bear, starts to activate in its predictable ways. Urgency, right? Pressure, perfectionism, shame when you don't get it right. Shame is a big one that's not talked about enough in the benzo community. And the pressure starts to create more of a narrative inside. And we start to say things like, why am I not better yet? Damn it, why am I not better yet? And this should be working. I'm doing the deep breathing. I'm doing, these exercises my therapist told me or what I saw on YouTube or something. Why is this not working? I need to calm down. See, this is pressure. I need this to work. Why is this? Why am I not better yet? Why is this not working? This should be working. It's fighting against what is. And the more you do it, the more amplification. And I know it feels like you need to do something, but ask yourself, has any of that ever worked for you? Honestly. And I'm willing to bet none of you have seen it be successful. The more you tried, the more dysregulated you felt. The more pressure you put on yourself, the more the system is getting the signal that, wow, maybe we are in danger and we need to do something to get out of this. And how does it motivate you to do something to get out of it? It's going to arouse fight or flight chemistry, which is already dysregulated in the seat of dysregulation from chemical withdrawal. So it's a match made in hell. Number four, um, do one stabilizing thing without testing it. Again, don't be attached to the outcome here, right? People try to stack their tools, they rotate techniques, and they try to measure effectiveness in everything they're doing. This is dysregulated behavior disguised as self care. Okay. So try to get out of that. Instead, pick one simple stabilizer that could help you. Some gentle breathing. Don't be fixated on the timing and the counts and how long. Just slow breathing in the present right now. Let go of the judgment. Let go of the pressure as much as possible. And just start with that. Just one simple thing. Don't be fixated on, am I messing it up? Don't let the shame and the perfectionism creep in through the back door. Um, Maybe it's I teach a lot of mala bead mantra work. I think mala beads are really good. It could be anything. You could grab a coloring book and just start coloring, and just try to just be okay with it. Again, don't color because if I color, I'm going to stop all this dysregulation. You cannot be attached to the outcome. Cannot stress that enough, my friends here. So just do whatever you're going to do without checking. Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? When's it going to work? Coach Power said it will work. Just do the thing, right? Um, and don't overdo it. When I'm talking about light things, coloring, some deep breath work. If you can handle a nice hot bath, petting your cat or your dog, putting on something nice to watch on television, get back out of your way. So much of dysregulation is further fueled from us being in our way, from fighting it, from resisting it. Like I said, the pressure, or we try to do too many things. The only way I'm going to get regulated is if I go on a 10-mile walk today. I've got to get back to exposure therapy. I've got to have a list of things and I've got to work it just perfect or I'm failing. This is only going to make you more dysregulated. Okay. So if you're testing the tool, I would argue you're not actually using the tool. Stop testing it. Just do it to do it and not be attached to the outcome. And number five, re-engage in life in small ways. Okay. Now, we're not talking about force again or pushing too hard, but avoidance feels like sensitization. And indeed, avoidance leads to sensitization. Now, again, I'm not telling you to go out there and put yourself in tough situations. You got to work within your nervous system and what it's allowing you to do in the time, right? But find little things you can do. Maybe it's just sitting outside on the patio for a little bit and getting fresh air. Maybe it's doing some light stretching. Maybe again, it's talking with your significant other or a family member, but not about benzos, right? Just try to find something to ground yourself here and re-engage in life in small, meaningful ways. Do the dishes, maybe some laundry, little things. Now, everyone is in different places, and I have students that this looks too small. They go, I can take my kids to the park and I can do other things, and I'm suffering in a different way. Other people are like, Coach, I'm having a hard time getting out of bed. All right. So meet your nervous system where it is. Don't compare yourself to others and don't spiral, right? Among everything, don't spiral. And remember, dysregulation is not failure. It's not a setback. You're not going backwards. The scary things that your brain is telling you are not true. You're not experiencing brain damage and neuronal death and all this crap floating around YouTube these days. It's somehow made a resurgence, almost worse than it's ever been with this doom and gloom crap. It's not true. You're dysregulated. It happens. Coming off benzos, it happens with people with trauma. It happens with people who never took a benzo, believe it or not, right? But your system's dysregulated and it will regulate again. And regulation, dysregulation is not a failure. Doesn't mean you failed. You don't need to feel shame. And it's not something you got to go fix immediately. Okay. Think of dysregulation as a system that's learned to sort of overfire, like a motor overfiring or an alarm over sounding, to what it perceives as smoke. You light an incense and the damn alarm goes off. So you don't calm the limbic brain down by attacking it, by forcing it, by adding pressure, by joining the scary stories that the limbic system tells you via intrusive thoughts or rumination, right? You calm it down, and this is probably one of the most important things I can teach you here. You calm it down by gently reclaiming your leadership, right? Your prefrontal cortex is the seat of leadership. That's your executive functioning seat there. And when you're in dysregulation, your brain quite literally shifts downward into amygdala dominance. So now you're in fight or flight, you're in survival, right? That's part of the dysregulation process here. And that's what keeps fueling dysregulation. So, yes, wait for it to pass, be patient, lean on your faith, right? Regulation isn't something you force. It's something that returns when the pressure leaves, when the urgency leaves, when the instinct to fix it immediately leaves. Then things will start to calm down. And that needs to be understood because I see a lot of videos where they're telling you to do a bunch of things and try a bunch of things and take a bunch of things and they don't realize that it's to the threat center of the brain. The more you do, the more you engage, the more pressure and force and all of these things that we've been exploring here in this video, the more you're only going to keep things fired up and more dysregulated. Also, of course, if you're tapering, maybe hold your taper, slow down. Too many people are trying to race off benzos. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's so much more important the quality of what you're learning, such as, like I said, reclaiming leadership, learning how to lull down the parasympathetic nervous system within reason while you're tapering. It's so much damn more important than how fast you can race off a benzo. How many of you have raced off benzos and only to go back on a benzo? Right. And I think the theory is, well, we'll just get off it and we'll regulate and then we'll go do a bunch of work and then we won't never need to get back on the benzo. But the work is hard and it starts right now. It starts in really tiny increments, little baby steps of things that you can start to do right now. Okay. So those are my 5 quick tips on, I think, a good psychological approach to helping you regulate a dysregulated system. And I'll repeat them just real quickly. 1, stop trying to fix it. 2, differentiate dysregulation from danger. They're not the same thing. Just because you feel unsafe doesn't mean you're unsafe. As a benzo coach, I can tell you I've never seen anyone go crazy and lose their mind or anything. Might be shocking to hear that. I've worked with thousands of people. Never happened. Even in the worst panic attacks, they still live. They manage. Number 3, lower internal pressure. Stop, putting pressure on you to heal faster, to regulate better, to perform recovery correctly, to get out of a wave. Everyone wants to try to end a wave. That's not how it works. And you could spend a lot of hours and days and months suffering needlessly if you really don't grasp that lesson there. And 4, do one regulating behavior without expectation. Like I said, a slow walk, some breathing, a hot bath, some mala beads, some prayer, things like that nature, a nice gentle talk with someone, not about benzos, not spiraling, and not checking, is it working yet? Right? That's the big one. You can't keep going, is it working yet? Okay, I'm talking to my mom and she's grounding me. I think it's working. Is it working? Right? Because the second you do that, it activates again. It's a lot like trying to fall asleep. Like the second you kind of go, am I falling asleep? You wake back up. So stop checking. And number 5, finally, resume life normal in small, stable ways. And this is always, I think, should be a goal for us in withdrawal. We're not here to just white knuckle it and lay and pray and then hope things get better on the other side. If you subscribe to that, well, there's a lot of coaches out there that kind of lean toward that, and that's fine. That's what they teach. I don't teach that. Also, I don't expect people to go do extravagant big things that are going to put their nervous system in peril. No, I think that you approach it very gently, right? But we don't hide in a dark room and wait for things to get better and avoid stimulation for months. That's a breeding ground for worse things there. So let me know what you think of this video. If you have any other, I'm sure you guys do have some other suggestions that are good ways to help regulate a dysregulated system. Now, these are only 5. I could have probably used 20 of them, but share them below and let everyone know what worked for you, what's been a pretty good tool for you. Okay. And keep your head up, guys. You're healing. I promise you that. You are healing. I have seen people come back from the worst situations. No one, and I mean no one, is beyond recovery. All right? See you next time.